All right. How we doing? I woke up this morning and logged onto our Google Meet, and then realized that we didn't have a Google Meet when nobody showed up. So that was cool. That was cool. That was a fun time. That was a good one. So I'm gonna record this video to let us know that what we're doing, because we're gonna get started on the next project now. Because I would like to get us moving a little bit on the next phase of our project. Now, the next phase of our project isn't going to be super technical. We're just going to be learning a little bit of concept, and then I have an asynchronous activity on a website called Photopea, and I'm going to teach you how to use it right now. We're going to learn a little bit about the idea behind Photopea and what we're going to use it for. So let me switch my thing. Okay, so Photopea, spelled just like this. I'll link the website in the Google Classroom post that I'll make. This is essentially an online version of Photoshop. It's a very useful little program. It does a lot of things very well. It's not as nice as Photoshop, but it does, some things. So there's a couple people that are going to have a little bit of an edge up. If you already use Photoshop, then you are, going to be ahead. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Now, this next project that we're going to have is going to be a landscape project, and we're going to be working with a couple different things, and how to create landscapes that have some depth to them instead of just paint a tree. So right here, I'm going to create a new project because I want to create a new project. You can just leave it as 720 by 1280. That's fine. You can leave all these settings. I'm gonna name my project landscape under name. And then I can hit create. Okay, so Photopea in Photoshop work on a system that's called layers. So people that have taken digital arts, if I've taught you digital arts before, you're going to get a little bored with this presentation. But Photopea works on a thing called layers. Okay, and that's something that you're going to have to know to finish this little exercise. I'm not going crazy with it, I promise. But the layer button is right here. So a layer is just like, if you imagine like an overhead projector, like one of those. Hold on. Let me grab a picture of one. Overhead projector. Images. One of these boys. Hold on, it's coming. If you remember these from like elementary school. Yeah. If you remember like these guys from elementary school, where the light would come up here, you'd put stuff on this little screen, and it would project onto the projector or the wall or whatever. So you can imagine the layers as the things you would put on top of here. Little clear sheets of plastic with stuff printed on them that you put on top of the overhead projector to do that. So my background is going to say exactly what my background is. And I want to make two layers. So I'm going to make two layers. And if you double click them where they say their name, layer 1, layer 2, I can name them. So I'm going to name this one middle ground. And I'm going to name the last one foreground. Because that's the three parts of a landscape that we need to talk about today. We're going to talk about the background, which is the backmost part of your landscape, our middle ground, which is the middle area, and our foreground, which is anything that is very close to us as the audience. Now, the general rule for landscape creation is the closer something is to you, and the general rule for anything in perspective is the closer something is to you, the bigger it gets, and the more detailed it gets. And the further something away is from you, the smaller it is in relationship, and the less detailed it gets. So let's just say I am creating a landscape. So what I'm going to do with this activity is I'm going to create a landscape uh, with a background, a middle ground, and a foreground. And I like the idea of using one color. Since we're doing a painting project this time, we're only going to use one color and we're going to add black and white to it. So it's going to be a little odd at first, but I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. One, because it's going to force you to be creative with how you use color, and two, it's going to help you. It's going to help me distribute paint because I have a lot of like purplish lavender paint. Um, so yeah, I'm going to use this color right here. So we're gonna go from like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go right across the middle, and that's gonna be my color scheme. Like that's my mid color. So I want to make like a sky, so I'm gonna get like this nice light blue. So to change your color, you come down here. Sorry, and you click this, and then you pick your color. There's a little slider here. There's a little color picker here, and then you hit OK when you're done. I'm going to come over to my brush tool, which is this tool right here. Brush tool. And I'm going to set my brush size, which is up here at the top, to like big, because I'm painting the whole sky right now. Oh, no, it's not what I wanted. I wonder if... No, I can't change that. That's okay. Alright, now, so I have my general sky. If I really wanted to, I could go all the way white and make this smaller. Oh, not that small. And like clouds. I promise when we're painting these will come out nicer because you're probably better at painting than you are at digital drawing. I am not, so this is a little embarrassing. And then my background is going to be something... Oop, I did this on the foreground though, layer. Uh-oh. I'll fix that. I'll just change this to my background. That's my fault. I shouldn't have screwed that up. So make sure that you're clicked on the right layer when you're making your things. That's a very common mistake. It happens. So I have my background layer. It's painted all sky, but I want something else to be in the background. So let's grab my colors. Let's go down to like a nice mid, and then we're gonna make my brush smaller. And then we're gonna say like some mountains. Now I can make my brush big, nice and big, and I'm gonna paint my mountains in. Okay, this is gonna be a process, so bear with me. This video is gonna be a little long. Okay, great. Now I have my background, which is just mountains and some clouds. And if you want to sit with me for 1 second, I'm just going to go and add some, snowy caps. Because that's what you got to do with mountains. Now, again, when we're painting, we can do a lot more with value and perspective and detail with these. But since we're in Photopea and we're trying our best to just understand the idea of background, foreground, and middle ground, I'm not really that concerned with your digital art quality. If you would like to learn more about digital art, you can take Digital Arts 1, where we learn how to use Photoshop and in turn Photopea. Okay, now I got my background finished. I'm going to move to my middle ground. Now my middle ground, I want something that is going to be like not necessarily super far away, but something that is between the background and the foreground. It is not terribly far. So I'm gonna make this much darker because I'm thinking like, let's say a forest. So I'm gonna just like wiggle this a bunch of trees here. Okay. So I got a bunch of trees between me and the mountains. And I'll add some detail to this in a second so it looks more like trees. So yeah, we're getting there. We're working on it. I will time lapse these actually. I will cut these up and make them into time lapses. So you don't have to sit here and watch me do this. Great. I don't think anyone's going to do this exercise. It's not. This isn't going to be graded. Okay, let's get some darker colors. Oh, this looks bad. Oh, this looks fine. My computer's being very laggy and it's like going absolutely haywire right now. Just, add some interest. Okay, good. Middle ground. Now, let's say my foreground is going to be something that is very, very close to me. It is going to be the closest thing to me that there is in this landscape. So thinking about it, that could be one tree that I'm very close to. That could be like a little cabin. I have an idea. This is going to be relaxing. Let's do this. Make it nice and dark. And my foreground is just going to be the closest thing to me. So I'm going to make a little hill right here. And then let's color that in. I'm using nothing but the brush tool. Remember that. The brush tool is going to be the only tool we need in Photopea. Now, if you are experienced in digital drawing and you want to use a different program, that's fine. Do your thing. As long as it has layers, you're fine. And then on this little bench, I'm going to, on this little hill, I'm going to draw a bench. I just spoiled it. Okay, how do I draw a bench? And then we go like that. And then we go across, right? Yeah. It's coming out. We're working on it. Bench. Look at that beauty. And then maybe like we got a guy, and he's got his arm up, and he's just chilling on the bench, and he's got his legs down. I don't like. I should have done that. Whatever. That's fine. That's good enough. All right. So my foreground now is this guy sitting on a bench. Maybe his whatever. It doesn't matter. My middle ground is the trees, and my background is the sky and mountains. Sky, the clouds, and mountains. Okay, so all of this goes into a landscape. These all play together to make a landscape with a lot of depth. Okay, so if we're looking at this, and we're looking at this landscape, we can really, really, really tell that it goes far. There's a lot of there's a lot of depth to the image. We can tell that it goes very far away because this guy and this mountain and like this guy and this mountain are the same size, so we can tell that they're far apart. And this tree as well. So the sky, the tree, and the mountain—they're all the kind of the same size, and we can see something that's going to give us a very solid sense of scale. And that's what we're looking for this project. We're going to be designing our own landscape, something completely imaginary, something that is 1000% your own personal creation, but you're going to organize it in a way that you can see how big these things are just by using foreground, middle ground, background. And that's it. That's what we're looking for. We're going to be using with paint with one color, so it'll come something like this. Now, if we do these right, these turn out to be really, really cool. And I think they are generally really very interesting projects. So I will timestamp this video so you don't have to worry about it. If you get a chance to do this landscape exercise on Photopea, fantastic. If you don't, that's fine, whatever. I would like everyone to get an opportunity to do this because it will help moving forward. And we'll talk about this in class again next week, probably on Wednesday. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Okay. Have a good day.